What's up, Central Illinois? Derek Hayden here. Garrett and I love sharing all the awesome stories about our Central Illinois business leaders. We want to make sure our Central Illinois businesses are protected so we can continue to share all these great stories. That's why you should consider another great Central Illinois company, Pekin Insurance, for your business insurance needs. That's right, you can get all the commercial insurance coverages that your company needs from an excellent insurance company headquartered right here in Pekin, Illinois. Pekin Insurance offers comprehensive business coverage that lets you focus on what's important to you: employees, profits, and peace of mind. Ask your local Pekin Insurance agent about their commercial insurance products or learn more at pekininsurance.com. You can also contact your favorite podcast hosts, Garrett or myself, Derek, and we'll go beyond the expected for you.
Welcome to the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, where business owners, thought leaders, and community champions from across Central Illinois come to share their story. The Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Anything less would be uncivilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? I'm Derek Hayden. I'm here with Garrett Ulmer. We are your hosts for the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, powered by Zambu. Zambu is a delicious grapefruit or wildberry, a vodka-based spirit infused with a Brazilian buzz button. It's smooth, tasty, and leaves you with a signature tingle. Learn more at zambuliquors.com. Zambu, taste the tingle. All right, Central Illinois, today's guest is a building developer in downtown Springfield, Illinois. He's also a sales manager for Stryker Medical. Ladies and gents of Central Illinois, please welcome David Lee. How are you doing, David?
Doing great, guys. How are you?
Doing good.
Awesome. Yeah, we're pumped. So for you listeners out there, we are fresh off the Christmas break, recording early in the morning. So we've got David here to get us out of the 4-day break funk, and we're getting ready to just kick it off. So David, appreciate you joining us. Before we get into your story, I'm going to pass the mic over to Garrett, and he's going to take you through our speed round questions.
Yep. Kind of like we spoke about before, we've got 6 questions. If you can answer them under 60 seconds, you win the $1 million prize. So I hope you've studied up and are ready to roll.
Let's do it.
All right. First concert you ever attended?
Oh, man. I think it was Luke Bryan at accounting.
I like it.
There you go. Favorite movie?
I got to say Christmas Vacation, because I just watched it like 6 times over this holiday break. So.
I hear you. My wife, if we do not watch that before Christmas, she is upset. So it's one of those things that we have to sneak in before Christmas every year. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Ooh, I'll go cookie dough.
Oh, there you go. That's my favorite. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Favorite social media platform?
Instagram.
Last but not least, why Central Illinois?
It's home for me, and that means a lot. You only get one hometown. It's special.
Yep, for sure. Perfect.
Awesome. We breezed through those pretty quick, David.
No kidding. I think you won the mill.
Yeah, he's ready for the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, David,
Bamboo. Yeah. No, good.
Yeah, exactly. So appreciate you sharing that, David. What we'd like to do next is if you could share with our listeners your story. So you can take us back as far as you'd like, or start wherever you want. Bring us up to speed with where you are now and how you got there.
Yeah, man. I'm born and raised in Springfield. I went to Springfield High School. Had a great experience there. Played sports. Went on to Augustana College. Played football and baseball, which is in Rock Island, Illinois. Then lived in the Quad Cities for a few years after graduation. Got into medical sales right out of school. With a company called Zimmer, which is a large orthopedic medical device manufacturer. Large company, definitely all around the world. So I was on a sales team there. And then it was a job that brought me back to Springfield with another medical device company. So I was on a flight. It's kind of one of those stories that, it just almost doesn't sound real, but not that it's anything crazy. I was on a flight back from Vegas. I was sitting next to a guy that worked for this company that I then started working for. He had never flown before, so he was talking my ear off. And we kind of connected that he was from the Iowa area. I was from Springfield originally, but living in Davenport. He said they were looking for somebody in Springfield to run the territory. Next thing you know, I'm working for them 2 weeks later, moving back to my hometown. Never really thought I'd move back. Kind of thought I'll go on to the big city, maybe Chicago, Denver, wherever. The opportunities, you kind of think as a young professional that there are a lot of opportunities in these other bigger cities. So I moved back to Springfield. I was about 26, had this territory, and then moved on to who I work for now, which is Stryker, still living here. But part of my story really with moving back to Springfield is I actually loved it. And, there's a lot of maybe stigma about moving back to a hometown or moving back to Central Illinois. And I've just been really blessed. And I think there's so much opportunity in Central Illinois. And there's something special for me, at least, about coming back to your hometown, kind of being a part of the business community, part of the redevelopment of downtown Springfield, for me in particular. That's really meaningful. I enjoy it. And I think there's way more opportunity than people think about.
Very nice.
Agreed. I think that most of the time you can make something of the area that you're at. If you want to, you can either, be upset about it and complain, or do something to help the situation,
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah. So you are a building developer. Tell us a little bit about how you've gone about developing buildings in downtown Springfield.
Yeah. So when I moved back, and so I lived in like a loft in downtown Davenport, which, if you guys are familiar, somewhat similar size to Springfield. And there's a lot of redevelopment happening when I was living there, and walked to the downtown amenities. And when I moved back to Springfield, I was like kind of comparing the two, and we seemed to be a little bit behind. So I was like, I wanted to get involved, kind of be a voice for young professionals in the area, and got on the involved with Downtown Springfield Inc., which is the Main Street organization for downtown. And just kind of volunteered, was on a couple of committees, talking about development and those sort of things. And just kind of fast forward, I started this thing called Momentum on Main Street that we just kind of created based on a program that was similar in Peoria. And so it was kind of about getting tools to small developers. So think somebody that, owns a coffee shop and maybe lives above it, or, has a little boutique and owns the building. The whole idea was that incremental, small scale development, and not like the big state project or the big, medical development or some big business moving into town. That's not what's going to save a downtown or a city, but it's going to be those small incremental steps done by business owners, done by small scale developers that don't have millions of dollars, right? So our whole idea was to get those people in the same room, get them collaborating, give them tools, and hopefully, knock out some of the hurdles or perceived hurdles, because there's certainly a lot of perceived hurdles, especially in downtown. It's just more complicated, people think, down there. So we did that, and we had this like really good community going, and then COVID hit. And, everybody's dealt with that, and it kind of shut things down. What we were doing there, we hosted events, had great turnouts, all that. It was really fun. And then throughout COVID, I was doing well in my career, and had some, time and everything to really start thinking about how do I make an impact, and really put some of my skin in the game. So I went in with another business owner who actually owned Segment Reclaimed at the time, which was a custom woodworking business where they would take down barns and use the old reclaimed wood to build custom furniture. Cool. And he's also a Springfield firefighter. So we partnered up, bought 2 downtown buildings adjoining that were next to each other on Adams Street, which anybody who knows Springfield probably knows Adams Street. It's kind of the popular street downtown. And they were complete guts, like totally just terrible on the inside, literally nothing besides brick walls. They're kind of those classic, downtown buildings built in 1912, skinny, long, just brick on each side. And there was nothing in it, like no plumbing, no anything that hadn't been occupied or touched probably in 50 years, if I had to guess. I don't know.
Wow.
My partner, Brian, almost got his head taken off by a pigeon when we were walking in the room. Like there's pigeons living upstairs. It was pretty bad. It was pretty ugly. And to be honest, it was, really a huge project to take on.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. And, we kind of just got to the point now after about a year really of kind of going through the, planning process, working with architect, working with the city, everything that goes into, redeveloping a building downtown, and got those business, tenants signed up, businesses, which they were new women-owned businesses to go in there. One is a boutique, and one is a wine bar, which is really adding to the kind of diversity of downtown, which is great. And just amenities and attractions, because that's what people want. And we got them open right before Thanksgiving of this year, 2022. It's quite a process, but yeah, it's a ton of fun, and learned a lot in the process as well.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm sure there had to have been. So did you guys do a lot of the renovations yourself, or did you hire contractors?
Yeah, we did some of the work ourselves, but definitely with the scale of the project and kind of the time frame that was going to be required, and us both working full-time jobs, we did hire out most of the work.
Gotcha.
Did some of the demo stuff ourselves, did some of the light work, but I mean, I don't know about you guys, if you guys are like Mr. Fix-It home guys.
No.
I'm really not. I probably did more work on this building than my own house. But yeah, it was really, really fun. And, there's so much complexity that goes into that and the inner workings of, a city. And we had to upgrade the water lines and, the water service into the buildings. Like it hadn't been touched since 1912, the infrastructure.
Wow.
So just a lot of weird things and, you uncover and so many little challenges and everything, but perseverance and keeping going is the key.
I'm just imagining the story of what kind of bird was it?
It was a pigeon.
Yeah. It makes me think of Great Outdoors when the bat is in the house and him, they're in there trying to get.
Oh, don't say bats. That's too soon. That was also
nice.
But that's so part of the reason we did this though. Like, I mean, of course, do you want a financial return on your investment? Of course, right? That's any smart business owner is going to think about that and work for that. But for us, really, is like this is our hometown. We know, or I'm saying I'm speaking for him. I'll talk for myself here. I know that for me, an area to be thriving, in my opinion, needs like a thriving city core and a thriving downtown. That's really where the culture is. Probably the business activities, the history, which in Springfield is abundant, right? Like all the state jobs are down there, the capital, the old state capital, the Lincoln sites, everything is kind of centered there. And that's where you think the most vibrant activity would be. Now, Springfield has unique challenges in that, some state jobs left 10, 20 years ago and probably are never coming back. So there are some vacancies downtown. So there's unique challenges in every single city to redevelopment and everything, but I'm excited about where it's going though too, because I think there's been kind of a renewed commitment to say that, hey, if we want to attract and retain young professionals and help our city grow at all, going towards the future, then we need to, revitalize our downtown.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So did you ever think that real estate would be the thing that you were going to get into?
So I traveled for my sales job pretty much between here and Chicago. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. I mean, just to be frank, like that's how I kind of got into it. I was listening to Bigger Pockets is a really big real estate podcast, probably the number one in the world. And just listening to that for years, I was like, I really want to get into this and kind of do this in some of my side time. Plus it kind of allows me that piece, that heart piece, like of being a part of the redevelopment. It kind of allows you to have a hand in that and help businesses get started, see something old become new, which is something that I really love, and being a part of that redevelopment process. So I didn't think that at first. I certainly didn't have the money at first, but when you're dedicated to a goal and it's something fun that you can be a part of.
Yeah. Right. You talked about the group that you started where people who want to invest on a smaller scale. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, they get freaked out when they hear, investing in real estate or buying real estate, flipping real estate, whatever happens to be, because they think it's going to be, they think, Trump Towers or that, that's in their mind. It seems like there's no way I can go out and buy a commercial building or, flip a residential home and sell it. So the group that you are with, do you guys collaborate together to identify smaller properties, I guess you would say, to go at it together? Or is it just a way to brainstorm to help local smaller investors succeed in real estate investing?
Yeah, so it's mostly to just educate people. And, I think most people think community over competition in a group like that. They're not like, oh, there's not enough deals for everybody or not enough, whatever. So yeah, just getting like-minded people in the same room, I think that's where the magic happens. I mean, that's where I've kind of made most of my connections since I moved back to Springfield. Was just being a part of that business community and doing things like that. That's how, through that networking. It wasn't through contacts I had from back in high school or anything like that. It was, new relationships and fostering those and helping each other out, which I think is the key. Yeah.
Awesome.
No, go ahead, Garrett. No, I was just okay. So do you think that you will look to expand further?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love to. Obviously it's a time thing and and energy. We my wife and I welcomed our little daughter into the world this year. So we have a 6-month-old.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you. And so new fatherhood and, dumping all my time into, of course, my child and my wife, but also this project at the same time, because we were right in the midst of the renovation when she was born, was quite a lot. So, I got to weigh out those things always, of course, but I would love to do another project in downtown. I'm actually doing another apartment building in kind of central Springfield, not related to downtown, that I'm going to close on at the end of January here. But I would love to get into another project downtown. Absolutely.
Very cool. So is that going to involve some renovation as well, or is that thing ready to go?
This one is most of the way rented. It's an 8-unit building.
Oh, nice.
Residential apartment building, kind of near High B and MacArthur Boulevard. If you guys know anything about Springfield, cool. So in that area. Trying to build up the portfolio. I mean, for me, I want to build up that kind of passive, it's not very passive. Like that's one thing that people shouldn't be fooled by if you're getting into real estate for the first time, kind of plan out what you want to do with how you want to approach your investment. Mm-hmm. I'm very active and hands-on, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Cool. Nice. So you do it yourself. You don't really have a property manager managing it for you. You're the guy.
If there's when I get to a scale that I want to see, I would probably do that. But you kind of want to get to, people use different metrics, but so you can't really put anything on it, but you want to get to a certain scale where it makes sense, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So you mentioned you played some football in college then. If I remember right, were you a quarterback?
I did play quarterback. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. So tell us about your football career. I know you said Augustana, but tell us a little bit about, did you break any records up there, or, how many touchdowns did you throw for?
Oh man. Did Tom Show lead you on this?
A little bit. He keep me in on a little info.
Yeah. So I was fortunate to be able to play, which was the fun thing about Division III. Springfield High, we were, to be honest, we weren't very good. When I was there, we were kind of just starting a little bit of a renaissance in the program. Coach got hired when I was a junior in high school, and we improved steadily. But yeah, I felt like I was under recruited, of course. I think everybody does. And thought about walking on and at a larger school, Division I school, had a lot of opportunities with that, but ultimately chose to go to Augustana to play football and baseball because I was pursuing a baseball career as well as a pitcher. It was all about the arm.
There you go.
And, I tore my labrum in my throwing shoulder. I started my sophomore year in football at quarterback. In the second to last game of the year, I tore my labrum. That ended my baseball career. But yeah, was able to start for 3 years. I did set most of the passing records at the school. The cool thing was, very unique to Augustana was we had a former NFL MVP that went to Augustana, Ken Anderson.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay. I wasn't aware of that.
So we're younger people that are, like our dad's age, which probably remember Ken Anderson. I think he was an MVP in like 1970, 1974, something like that. Played in the Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals. And he went to Augustana from Batavia, Illinois. And he was Big Ben's coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, quarterback coach for many, many years. And he actually came back to Augustana for the first time when I was there because he had a long coaching career in the NFL. And so obviously he was always coaching. And he hadn't been back. And one funny thing is that guy still had a cannon.
Really?
Like 65 or whatever, 70 maybe. And we played catch because he was a little upset that I broke. So I broke his records.
Awesome.
And so he was, he's a competitive guy.
Sure.
And, we threw the ball around a little bit, and he could still sling it, man. It was
that's awesome.
Impressive for being like 70 years old.
That's great.
But it's cool meeting him, and he was a down to earth guy, and played in a couple of golf tournaments with him for like football reunions, and just an awesome guy with a super impressive resume. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's
just goes to show you those competitive juices don't shut off. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, he was chosen in the second or third round in the NFL draft out of Augustana.
That's nuts.
So,
that's awesome. That's almost unheard of. Yeah. So do you feel like you took some of the things that you learned playing college sports and are able to apply those to, your current roles as a sales manager for Stryker and developing downtown Springfield?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was a captain of most of the teams I played on, and including in college and everything. And you have, 100 plus guys from different backgrounds, different areas. And, downtown Springfield obviously is, diverse and unique, like probably more so than any other spot in town, right? It's the city core. There's a lot of different things going on. and you deal with a lot of people, going through the development process. We went through a TIF process, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it involves, a city council vote and getting some city funding. It was for that water infrastructure project that I was mentioning. You're dealing with a lot of different personalities. So, kind of dipped into a little bit of the politics of it, and just navigating all the processes. You deal with so many different personalities, people that, may or may not understand your challenges. So, I think in business, like the whole just getting along with people and dealing with different people and helping, of course, in sales, helping them, see their challenges and how you can provide a solution or vice versa, is key. And communication is a big key to that. Yeah.
That's great. Man, that's pretty cool. We've never had a record holder. Now, we did have a national champion on the podcast with Seth Zeller. He was on the basketball team that won the national championship at Illinois Wesleyan. So now we've got
that's Augustana's biggest rival.
Is it really? This would have been in 97, like 97-ish was.
Yeah, I want to say it was in the 90s, somewhere in there. Mid to late 90s.
So, man, we've got some all-stars on the podcast now. So sweet. Yeah. Well, that's very cool, David. That's a good story. So we'll finish up here. Tell us a little bit about your role at Stryker Medical.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about Stryker, I don't know if you guys know anything about the company. It's a super large, Fortune 200 medical device manufacturer. Everything's made in the U.S., made in Kalamazoo, Michigan at the corporate headquarters. And one thing that's really cool is, our mission statement at Stryker is making healthcare better. It's that simple. And there's a ton of different divisions at Stryker, from orthopedic implants, like a knee implants. That's what I used to do. Now I sell life-saving medical equipment to pre-hospital EMS. So think like an ambulance company or a fire department, the cardiac monitors they use and that they would shock somebody back with from a heart attack, automated CPR devices. So really fun equipment to sell to these people because it helps them do their job and it helps them save lives. So it's really fun. It's a huge impact in the community. Like I deal with a lot of volunteer departments where these people work a full-time job and then, they get a 911 call and they go out, from their bed at 3 a.m. to go save somebody's life. And our equipment helps them do that and helps them take care of the community. So it's a super rewarding job and I really love it. And it helps me, help people make their community better, which is what I love doing in my community. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That is
cool.
Do
you cover a fairly large radius, or how large an area do you cover then?
Yeah, basically I-72 to I-80 kind of roughly is my territory. I've covered all the way down to Cairo, to the tip of the state. At certain points, our territories always change and unfortunately get smaller every year. But that's kind of the way of, the corporate sales environment. But yeah, it's really fun. And, I love what I do. It's fun. And I get to, kind of do these other things on the side as well that I've taken up. So it's a really good arrangement. Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. So I'm going to jump into the sales, put your sales hat on here.
Yeah.
So how do you go about selling this equipment to your customers and prospects? Is it phone calls, in-person visits? How do you do it?
Mostly in-person visits. Most people are familiar with Stryker. I mean, it is the industry leader. So, we have great equipment. We're confident in that. And we know that, we can kind of solve their challenges and make their lives better. So one of the big things in EMS is those workers, think about people lifting people all the time. And unfortunately, our population is getting bigger. We have devices that help them do that because they get hurt on the job quite a bit. So that's a fun one to sell. Obviously, our like automated CPR devices. I don't know if you guys have ever to do CPR. I hope you haven't. It's very tiring. And, you do it for more than 2 minutes and you're not doing effective CPR. And the responses that people get from 911 calls with people going out is very limited. People don't like hearing this that are not in the field because it kind of scares you, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of challenges in real EMS. So I take it as a consultant role. Like we sell expensive equipment. Our equipment is not cheap. It's very much needed. It's not like a want. Usually it's a need. So it's fun to sell, but I take it from that consultant role. Like, what are your guys' challenges? For a lot of places, it's that we don't have enough people. And of course, that's everywhere right now. Yeah. But especially in EMS, like it's a very tough field. They're not paid like they should be, and they're doing life-saving work, right? So let me help you get that equipment that you guys need. and be your advocate. There's a lot of federal funding sometimes, and especially through COVID, there's been a lot of that. So I kind of am almost acting as an advocate for sometimes a lot, to help them get other funding or grant sources, or, from the CARES Act or American Rescue Plan funding on the federal level. There was a lot of that flew down into fire and EMS. So that's how I approach it, the consultant role. I don't want to sell a brochure. I want to find out their needs, try to fulfill their needs, which I know we can do.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So are you driving going back to the sales side?
Yeah.
Are you driving a lot to get in front of these people?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
People love to, touch and feel, right? Like our products are something they use, so they want to feel it, they want to try it. So yeah, I mean, even throughout COVID, maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but like I was going to places the whole time, and ultimately that helped me, because some of my competitors were not doing that.
Sure. Yeah.
Getting out there and getting in front of customers, helping them, and because they never stopped. In fact, they got busier and they had more challenges throughout that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what Garrett and I found in our roles is the bigger the town, the harder it was to go in person to meet with people.
Yeah.
Most of the rural, like you're mentioning, the volunteer, sized organizations, those are the ones we were able to get in front of in person. But the reason this podcast started was because we weren't able to get in front of the business owners in the bigger, you hate to say bigger, like Mattoon's a big city, and but it is in our area.
Oh, you're right though.
Bigger town, Effingham, those, Springfield, Decatur, those are some bigger central Illinois communities, but it was harder to get in front of business owners. So we had to get creative. So I didn't know if you had to get creative or not, or if you're able to just continue the way you're doing it.
Yeah. It was a little bit of creativity, and actually Decatur Ambulance, you guys are probably familiar with them, because they serve your area, or did, or I don't know. But I won a competitive trial during COVID in 2020 with them. And I think a big part of that was I was on site. I was helping the crews as they were trying our equipment, helping them use it. And I think that was something that contributed to me winning the deal versus a competitor. But yeah, Decatur, very familiar with the area for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Well, a few more questions, and we're actually pretty close to the 30-minute mark, David. So you said you're a big podcaster. Bigger Pockets was one of your top ones. Any other podcasts you would recommend to Garrett and I and the listeners?
Yeah, I really like Ed Milet. I don't know if you guys know him. He's kind of another. I'm big into the personal development stuff and fitness, and I also listen to Real AF with Andy Frisella. I don't know if you guys know. So I'm actually doing 75 hard right now.
Oh, cool. Good for you.
I've done it before.
Tough time of year for that.
Yeah, the little cold snap we had was definitely a challenge for sure. These last couple of days, but that's the thing, no excuses, and
that's right.
Honestly, that's helped me in my sales career. So I did 75 hard for the first time about a year and a half ago.
Cool.
And part of the reason I did it was because I had my biggest year in sales ever, and I kind of turned around the next year, and I was like, how am I going to do this again? I live in a very rural area for where our other kind of account managers and sales managers live. Most of them are in metro areas. So generally, my territory would not perform like theirs, you would think. So I knew that I needed to run it back, and, I got a bigger quota the next year, and it never stops, right? Like you have to keep delivering. And I was like, I need to do something to really dial myself in even more and take it to the next level. So, it's no drinking for 75 days, 2 workouts a day, one's outside, dieting, drinking a gallon of water, all this stuff. And honestly, it was life-changing. It was one of the probably top 5 most life-changing moments of my life, going through that process. And I'm doing it again now. Just want to keep sharpening the axe and keep getting better every day. And, I want to do more of all the things I'm doing. I want to sell more. I want to, be more present with my family, be a better father, be better for my community. I want to buy more buildings. I want to develop more. If I'm going to do all these things, I have to be my best self. So that's why I'm doing it again.
Awesome. Well, thanks for motivating us. We appreciate it.
Where's the brick wall? I'm ready to run through it.
Yeah, let's go. That's those football days, guys.
That's right.
Can't let the competitive spirit. Yeah. Can't let it go.
So part of 75 hard is reading 10 pages a day. Is that right?
That's
what's your book of choice right now?
So right now I'm reading a Tim Grover book.
Okay.
He was Michael Jordan's fitness coach or personal development coach. Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. He coached a lot of NBA guys.
Yeah.
And he has some awesome stuff. I would highly recommend him. I'm reading Relentless right now.
Okay.
It's all about the mindset and the attitude. And, that's the fun thing that I really love about business, and especially sales, of course, is, I played all these sports back in the day and everything. And, we can talk about our old accolades, but who cares, right? Unless you're doing something now.
Yeah.
And, the business field is, you do it in the right ways, you do it with ethics and morality and all that. But it gets the competitive juices flowing a little bit, right? And I love this kind of personal development and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Well, I like it. Anything else before we hop off of here, David, that you would like to share with the listeners? Any words of inspiration or anything that might be coming in the near future with developing downtown Springfield? If not, you can tell me to shut up and we'll keep going.
No. I could talk about this stuff all day. I love this. So thanks for having me on, guys.
Great.
But I would just really encourage people, to kind of like think locally. I mean, that's kind of a big movement with support local, shop local, invest local, all this stuff. Like it really does matter. And I don't know about you guys, but like corporations getting bigger and bigger, I don't think is maybe the best thing. How much more juice can we squeeze out of the, proverbial apple or whatever. So really encouraging people just to like invest in their local community. And I know that this listener base is probably business owners, just kind of encouraging them, like, this is your home, not only to expand and, do well in your business, because that's your obligation actually, but to also get involved, maybe do some of this development work that's hard, like buying a downtown space. The reason I did it is because I want to see Springfield be a better place to live. And I want to help attract like the next generation, like myself, to this community. Otherwise, if we're not growing, we're dying, which unfortunately, the statistics in Illinois say that, we're doing a little bit of the dying part. So doing your part, I think, is very important to that.
Yeah. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you, David. Stick around after we hit the stop button and I'll ask you, I have a few questions for you. So,
all right.
But until then, hey, all you listeners, make sure you are subscribing to the CIBL podcast on your favorite podcast platform. While you're listening, give us a quick review. You can also find us on social media, mainly on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you can connect with Garrett and I there as well. Until next time, David, you've officially been civilized. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL Podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.